Well, we had been in existence already for almost 7, 8 years at that stage. And so there had already been notice to our work given, and especially around the time of the new drugs for hepatitis C. And that's kind of what kind of just turned up the amplitude on people's kind of radars, looking for the next big drug that might kind of be a big budget buster, if you will. And issues around pricing and value, which had been percolating in the background, were just ready to surge forward. And then not too long after the hepatitis C drugs came the PCSK9 inhibitors. And what was unique about them was that they were a completely new paradigm of care for patients with high cholesterol. There are obviously a lot of patients in the country who have high cholesterol despite using the available pills. And so the potential for the budget impact was so high that it raised people's attention. So, our approach is not to worry so much about the short-term budget impact, but to really try to capture the long-term value in the way that we look at value. And so even doing that, looking at the PCSK9 data at the time of its launch, we did think that the list price that they came out at was far too high to match up with what was going to be the likely clinical impact. Because remember, at that point, we didn't even have the clinical trials that said that it did prevent heart attacks and strokes. We just had trials that showed that it lowered cholesterol. So taking that on its face, we did a model that said connecting that to the likely downstream reduction in heart attacks and strokes, how valuable would these be and what would a fair price be? So when we came out with a much lower price, I think it actually just affirmed what many payers and others were feeling, which was that this seemed like an expensive drug for the clinical value that it was going to provide for the average patient, not for every patient, but for the average patient.